Hi folks, this is All the Fruit, and recently I made a video about some of the most iconic fruits of the Canary Islands. It was not a very long list, partially because I forgot the avocado. Yes, the avocado is definitely one iconic fruit commonly associated with the Canary Islands. But I noticed there are also a lot of fruit we don't associate so much with the Canary Islands, but they are really typical for here. And so now I'm making a second video with a lot more fruit. I could have included even more fruit than that, but we are in January, and despite the weather being pretty much like a European summer, well, like medium warm sunny summer day, January is not really the fruit season. We are here in the subtropics, so we have seasons. And a lot of fruit are missing, but still there is a lot of stuff grown here. So let's see what we have here. Well, the tomato is an iconic fruit associated with the Canary Islands, but let's not forget that the south of Spain and also the Canary Islands are also a main provider of stuff like peppers, or also zucchini and eggplants, which are not being featured here. They are used as a vegetable, but are actually a fruit, and are very typical for the Canary Islands. Well, the avocado is also very typical for the Canary Islands. It's grown here a lot more than the olive, just the opposite to the situation on the European mainland. Yeah, cactus fruit. Well, I included Opuntia ficus indica in the first video, but it's not the only typical cactus grown and sold on the Canary Islands. You will also find from time to time Opuntia delaney, even in mainstream supermarkets. And of course pitaya or dragon fruit, which is also a cactus fruit. Here I have the yellow pitaya, which seems to be more typical on Tenerife and La Palma and so, while the red pitaya seems to be more typical in Gran Canaria. Well, grapes. The Canary Islands don't produce a lot of dessert grapes for commercial trade. Those are, well, in summer and autumn grapes are mostly important from mainland Spain. Nowadays I guess those are somewhere from South Africa or Chile or so, but I had to include them because grapes, wine production is very important in the Canary Islands, much more important than dessert grapes. And if you are, well, if you are a Shakespeare reader, Shakespeare mentioned the canary sack all the time in his works, and also the only payment he ever received from the Queen of England was a barrel of Canary Island wine per year. Yeah, Canary Island wine was a commodity that was traded worldwide, and most of Western Europe was drinking Canary Island wine, and also a lot of the Spanish and British colonies. And the wine was the backbone of Canary Island agriculture for centuries. So I had to include the grapes because they are really typical for the Canary Islands. Guavas are very typical for the Canary Island and the islands in the south of Spain. It's a pity they are not so typical for the rest of the Mediterranean. It's a great fruit and it's missing in most Mediterranean countries. The tamarillo or tree tomato, there is always this debate. Is it a fruit? Is it a vegetable? Well, you can eat it as a vegetable or as a fruit. How shall I describe it? It tastes like a slimy tomato with a lot more intensive and complicated taste than the tomato. And usually it's being stuffed with meat and things like that. But you can also eat it out of hand like a tomato. Mandarins. Well, citrus fruit are very typical to most tropical and subtropical areas in the world. However, if you get such nice bright and orange mandarins, those are usually imported from the mainland and are being treated with ethylene. The local mandarins look a lot more irregular and are all shapes, and all colors between green and pale orange. The quince. Where is the quince here? Well, since it was introduced by the Spanish, it became a very typical and aromatic fruit of the Canary Islands. In Spain, they make a lot of this dry jam you can cut with a knife from quinces. You can find it in every supermarket. much more so than in Nordic countries like Germany or Scandinavia. And yeah, Quince is so important for Canary Island culture that the famous Canary Island stick fight, where you fight with a fighting stick, with a big fighting pole, which is actually not just a sport, but was a really well-developed art of war, a martial art. So the Canary Island martial art is usually done nowadays with a stick made of quince wood. Carambola or star fruit is also quite typical for the Canary Islands. Well, you can cultivate it very easily. Even small trees provide you with a gigantic yield, and people like to buy it. It's tasty, it's ornamental. Kiwis. This kiwi is a gold kiwi from Italy, but on the Canary Islands there is a domestic kiwi production, quite a sizable one. However, since the climate of the Canary Islands is quite hot, the kiwis usually grow in the high mountains. Actually, this is one of the fruit which you can grow quite well in the Laurisilva or laurel forests up here in the high mountains of Anaga. In the high mountains of La Gomera there is even a kiwi village which is specialized in cultivating kiwis. Pomegranates, also very typical here, a lot of pomegranate shrubs everywhere. It's a very typical plant of the Mediterranean, and since Canary Islands are part of Spain, pomegranates are also very popular here. There's basically no garden without pomegranates. You can eat them out of hand, you can make them into juices. The Arabs cook a lot with them and make a lot of sweet stuff with them. Quite nice. Well, here are some more citrus. As I said, all those subtropical areas are really good with citrus. I think that this is a grapefruit or pomelo. Here's some orange from peninsular Spain, treated with ethylene, bright orange. That's what the local oranges look like. Irregular and usually a shape of yellow, sometimes green or sometimes a little bit orange. A lime. The lime, despite looking very like modern agriculture, is actually from Tenerife. The lemon, I did not see where it's from, but it looks almost like it could be from peninsular Spain. And last but not least, definitely not least, since we are in January now, a lot of the temperate fruit are gone, so I cannot show you the cherries or plums or mulberries, which are quite typical for the Canary Islands. I forgot to buy pears. They have a local pear production, but they also have a local apple production. Well, this here is the most typical apple of the Canary Islands, I would say. The so-called Reinetta, Canada Grease. Well, I really don't know if this comes from this apple, and if this is not maybe something imported. Well, I don't think it's imported from Canada. This looks like a Reinetta. Oh, folks, I wanted to tell you that that's what the apples imported from China look like. But now if the typical Canary Island apple is actually a Canada apple, oh, that would be a big fail. Well, I'm sorry. I thought I'm buying Reinetta from the mountains of Tenerife. Please tell me, is this a Reinetta from the mountains of Tenerife, or is this a Canada Grease imported from America? A fruit I did not include, I forgot to buy it, I would have included it otherwise, is the Chirimoya. Canary Islands grow Chirimoyas, but most of the Chirimoyas you'll find on the markets, and especially in supermarkets, they will be from mainland Spain, from the Costa Tropical. So yeah, okay, in the last video I forgot the avocado, in this video I forgot the Chirimoya and the pear, and messed up the apples probably. Sorry for that. I think I still gave you kind of a feeling about some additional very typical fruits of the Canary Islands. Stay tuned for a lot more fruit videos from the beautiful Canary Islands, and don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe.